Jack he has a lot of stuff going on. He's similar to what we do in terms of he has agency, he has software. VIPRE is an absolutely incredible platform that we've been using since, I think since they kind of first launched. It's been quite some time, back when they were just doing contests, and we've seen them evolve. And it's a core part of our marketing strategy in 2019 is gamification, contest, kind of viral leaderboards, all that good stuff we're going to talk about today. But he's also spent an absolutely insane amount of money on Facebook. And so it's very rare that you get to meet other people who have similar experience managing large Facebook budgets, who have actually managed, tens of millions, 100+ million in Facebook spend, because it gives you a completely different perspective. And Jack has kind of managed over $150 million in Facebook ad spend. That puts him in a very, very small group of people. And so what we're going to talk about today is really, what does Facebook advertising look like in 2019? What does the future of paid traffic, lead generation, customer acquisition look like? And most importantly, how can we use tools like contest, leaderboards, gamification, interactive content? How can we use these as a top of funnel for our ad strategies to get cold traffic into our ecosystem in the way that Facebook wants us to do it, which is not to just take cold traffic and send it to an offer page anymore. It just doesn't work. So that's what we're going to dive in today. I apologize for not being in the office. Well, we're actually in our new office, and we're moving into a bigger one. So I'm in this awful white box right now. I do not have my good camera, my good mic. I don't have my uniform background. So I feel kind of vulnerable right now. But luckily, Jack felt for me and decided he's also going to have a white background and nothing going on as well, but a better image quality. So
I work in a white box.
Yeah, it's great to have you on here and get to chat. We've known each other for a while, and I always learn a ton when we talk.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks for having me. And it's super excited to share some stuff that's really working for us. As Max is saying, that gamification thing is growing bigger and bigger, month after month as, CPMs get higher, advertisers need to get more creative. Facebook's increasing by 70 to 80%, in cost every year. So, as you were saying, that strategy of just having a good ad and driving it to a sales page isn't necessarily working as well anymore. And you are having to see that the cost per acquisition is definitely going up along with those costs of CPM, CPCs, that sort of stuff. Not to mention the consumers getting also a lot more savvy as well. They can see ads a lot easier now. They, aren't as receptive to, super high flash sales. They're doing comparison shopping. So you really need to stand out now and build a bit of a brand for yourself, because the guys who are doing these flash sales and stuff might make a small little pop to start with, but it's really the long-term game that you want to be playing. How can you increase that LTV? How can you increase that engagement, that connection with your customer, and really go from there? So we can dive into all that stuff.
Definitely. Yeah. So let's, and guys, while we're talking, I'm sure questions are going to come up. So if questions do come up, just drop them in the comments, and I promise we will come to them and get them answered. They just might not answer right away as we dive down certain paths, right? So I guess the first thing, because there's so much to talk about, but what I'm curious about is, I always find it interesting to talk to people who started something kind of well before it became a very popular thing. And what I mean by that is right now everyone's kind of talking about gamification, contests, interactive content. It's a very popular thing right now. You started VIPRE, co-founded VIPRE a while back. So you didn't just start VIPRE last month or last year. Like a lot of people now are starting SaaS companies out of nowhere because they finally see the problem and they're starting the solution and they're starting cheap options. What was it like several years ago that caused you to want to start VIPRE? And what was the initial goal with the platform?
Yeah, so it was a really funny story, actually. So we started 2-3 years ago. And the reason that we started VIPRE was because, my background was in media buying and agencies and freelancing and that sort of stuff. And then what we were seeing is there was this one client that was a K-pop company. So they were selling K-pop merch and all that sort of stuff. And so we decided to run a contest to get that, mass awareness out and really leverage the share. So the share is super important. And so what better way to create shares and likes for engaged fans is to then give away an exclusive sort of experience that nobody can buy. So it was kind of like this crazy K-pop band that everybody loved. We were giving away, free VIP tickets, access, you'd hang out with them, that sort of stuff, a bunch of merch. And this thing went absolutely mental. Just like so much engagement, so much reach, such low cost per click, email list just exploded. And so, since then that was the first interaction of using that gamification aspect and contesting, that we saw like, hey, contesting and gamification along with paid media is a controllable growth mechanism that you can use to kind of like really control the scale. So that's where we first sort of started and saw the traction of the concept. And then at the time, we were using a competitor product and we were like, okay, this is great, but these are all the things we actually want to be able to do. And so we took that product and then reassessed the campaigns and the strategy that we used and be like, okay, how can we improve this product to better fit the needs of the marketer? Because a lot of the products were focused around, it's usually the founder of the company who's not as advanced in their marketing strategies. We really wanted to create we started out calling it a growth hacking tool, which was terrible. You've really got to niche down a little bit more than that. Growth hacking is way too general.
Yeah.
So we wanted to really build something that was really powerful for the marketer. So that's when we sort of kicked it off and we created contests, and sort of rise to fame was the leaderboard contest that we built, and it got picked up on Product Hunt, which was really good because we got our first few hundred users, which was great. And then made a lot of iterations on the product. And then because we were going down this gamification aspect, we had content upgrades and pop-ups and stuff in there. And then we realized that we're putting too much stuff in here. We just need to be really good at a few things. So then we got rid of some of that stuff. So we got rid of the content upgrades, rid of the pop-ups, and we just focused on contests and giveaways, and now recently reward programs. So the whole tool is focusing on incentivization and gamification, because those are the two things that a company can generate and really leverage for like a lot more scale than paying a dollar for dollar, as you usually do with paid media.
Totally. And, I have so many questions that are, that I want the answer to, and I'm sure other people do, but I see Jonathan's question there, other people coming in, just, feel free to drop your questions in here. I guess my biggest question, and I'm always curious, because like when you see the Harmon brothers and people that have just, I feel like it's so hard to create something that goes viral. Like there's a formula to give yourself the best chance to go viral, but virality is so random and there's so much luck associated with it. But then I see people like the Harmon brothers who just consistently put out product after product or product that just takes off. And I guess from your perspective, as somebody that's both spent a ton of money running Facebook ads and running paid traffic, and also somebody that gets to see the viral success stories on the gamification side of your platform, like what are some things that you see brands doing in just their marketing, but also just like specifically with their contests and giveaways, those two different areas, to best increase the virality of that campaign?
Yeah, so that's a really good point. And like everybody kind of overthinks this a little bit, but when you're coming up with your campaign or your strategy, whether you're running a contest, creating a viral video, creating a customer quiz, whatever it may be, that's going to be your kind of like growth post or ad that you're trying to get max awareness on, you really need to just come back to the core concept of, would someone share this with their friends? So the problem with a lot of marketers is that they're just creating these salesy posts or ads or campaigns that when you really step back and you're like, oh, hey, would I share this with my friends? A lot of them would be like, no, I'm not going to share that because it just looks like I'm spamming my friends. So you really need to create an offer for someone. This is for the first touch point, usually.
Yeah.
So usually it takes 4 to 8 touch points for someone to go from learning about your brand to purchasing from you, or at least being familiar enough to make a small monetary contribution. So what you need to do is you need to think like, okay, what's going to get this in front of as many people as possible, but not going to lose me a ton of money. Like you can't just go out and give free stuff away. Like everybody's going to share it if you're giving away free $100 to everybody who reposts something or reshares something. or you need to think about how can I create something that's going to get shared. It's going to make people not feel like they're spamming their friends, but it's still going to benefit me. And so that's when the giveaway came in, because it was something that was offering the person who's sharing it a reward. So incentivization. And usually the better the reward and more aligned it is with your target market and more unique it is, usually the more they're going to be willing to share it. So an example of this is Justin Bieber concert was coming up. Someone was giving away free Justin Bieber tickets and a meet and greet. So that contest went absolutely crazy because there's so many Justin Bieber fans, and they were all willing to share that with their friends, families, co-workers. They would do anything for that experience.
What was the business and the like their product or service?
It was so they were actually a music app. So they had just organized this arrangement, and they were just trying to get installs on that music app. So they weren't even, the promoter of Justin Bieber or something. They just knew that this experience was going to be really good, so they had organized that experience. And so if you had taken that same concept or same company who was trying to get downloads on that music app, you could say maybe offer free access to your app, or maybe $150 gift card to iTunes or something, but people aren't really going to share that. It's not really that exciting. So you really need to think about how you're positioning your prize, and is the piece of content you're creating going to be something people want to share, or is it just going to be something that they're like, okay, I'll enter that and I'll engage with a little bit, but I'm not really willing to share it. The share is the most important thing by far. And that's usually the success that you see with all these viral campaigns. They're always entertaining, or they've got some aspect that people are willing to share about it.
No, that's really smart. I think, and it's the challenge I find, and this is the fine line with contests and giveaways, is creating a prize that's super exciting and valuable, but also making sure that you're getting quality leads into your contest and into your email system, your pixel, all that stuff. Because I think that's probably I would say the most consistent reason people, when I talk about content gamification, say they don't do it is lead quality, right? Mm-hmm. Hey, yeah, it's great. I can run a contest, get a lot of leads, but do those leads convert, and are they super relevant to my product? And so that's, I guess, the big challenge is like creating that prize that's exciting and engaging and has a chance to be viral at some extent, but also making sure you're not just doing it for the sake of doing that, and also getting the right people to engage. Do you have any tips for like the best way to balance those things? I guess then the question after that would be like, what is a overall kind of prize value that you've seen as a sweet spot for giveaways?
Yeah, so usually a prize for a giveaway is a make or break. So you can have any tool with all the features in the world, but if you're offering a shitty prize, nobody's really going to want to engage, enter, and share. So you really need to align your prize with your target market. So it's like, how can you make the prize unique? So if it's unique, people want it a lot more because they can't easily access it. And is the value of high enough for them to invest maybe a few hours into, over the whole course of the contest? Are they going to invest a few hours into sharing it, promoting it for you, maybe emailing a few of their friends, completing all the bonus actions, all that sort of stuff? Is the value you're offering higher than the amount of effort they need to put in? So usually you're going to see that, brands who offer really mediocre or low value prizes aren't going to really get as high quality leads as the guys who offer more valuable prizes. So a rule of thumb, I suppose, is to think like, how much can I pay per lead, and what is the, I suppose, volume of leads that I want to generate from this campaign, and then how much am I going to spend on this campaign? And so if you put all of those things in line and figure out how much it's going to cost you, then you can kind of get a gauge as to how much you're going to get in return. So if it costs you $2 usually for an email, but you know that all of your customers on your email list convert at maybe like 2 or 3%, and then you know that each one of your customers is worth $600 or something, you can kind of re-engineer that and reverse engineer it to figure out how much value you can get from all the leads. Now, the thing with the quality is really important, because we definitely learned this the hard way. We could have contests that were super broad and would get like tens of thousands, or even hundreds of thousands of leads. But as soon as you put those into the ESP server, you find out that, you know, they're worth nothing. They just wanted to sign up. It was a spam email address, or it was just a freebie hunter who just wanted to win something so they could resell it.
Yeah.
So that's when we started really introducing a lot more security features within VIPRE, especially when we had that big crypto craze and a lot of crypto companies using it. We really had to figure out ways to qualify leads. So it's, you know, things like gating the thank you page without people confirming their email address, because then as soon as they confirm their email address, you at least know they're taking it seriously. If people aren't confirming their email address, you know, they're maybe just signing up on the spot and hoping that they're going to win. They don't really have much intention to take it further than that. So you really want to be optimizing your contest to, you know, people who are going to confirm their email address, come back multiple times. And that's why a really good strategy that people use is they set up remarketing ads to people who visit the thank you page, so that you get people back to that contest page a lot easier to then go and get their referral link or complete bonus actions and that sort of stuff. So setting up the remarketing campaign also really helps, because you're putting the contest back in front of those leads that you're collecting, and they're going back in and logging back in. And the more they do, the more invested they are, the more likely they are to continue to complete actions.
I like that. Have you thought about, this could be a terrible idea. So it seems to me that, like, when we're setting up bonus actions, right, they all have value to us. And this is one of the things that I like specifically about VIPRE, is the ability to, like, it's not just it's not just a contest, right? I think contests they have their place. But for us, it's really, and I'm going to talk about a strategy towards the end of this that we've implemented. It's like a core lead gen strategy for Unicorn this year, and it involves VIPRE along with some other stuff. But like we're growing our social channels, YouTube, Messenger, all these things simultaneously. But it seems like that share is the most critical action in a gamification, right? So it's like, for the contest to get most viral, it depends on getting the most people who enter sharing it on their specific networks. So I know there's a way to assign bonus actions, and you can increase, you know, make that level of actions really high. Is there anything in the pipeline or thoughts around, like, setting a tangible reward for that share, because it's such a critical action where it's like, hey, I'm willing to, because I'm not getting you in for cash, right? I'm giving away my course, and that's what's getting you excited and getting you in there. But if I was willing to pay you $5 to share it, like, I might get a lot more people sharing it. But again, people that see the share, they're coming in because of the prize, not because of the $5. They don't know about the money yet. So it almost seems like there's opportunity to stack, like, the back end with high value rewards that don't dilute the quality. And that's something that I think would be interesting as a test, to see if having a cash gift card type reward for those high value actions, once they've already entered and shown their quality, would dramatically increase the likelihood of that virality score being higher. That was just a thought that while I was listening, because that's what we've struggled with as well, is like how to get people to really get excited about sharing. Because also, I guess, and just, I think the inherent challenge with a referral-based contest is that if I'm thinking strategically about it, me referring somebody, it increases my odds of winning because I get actions. However, it also simultaneously can decrease my odds of winning, because that brings in more people who are competing with me. So if there was an additional incentive for me to share it, that I won, regardless of whether I'm bringing a lot more people in, it could make that experience more of a win-win and less risky for that person to do.
Yeah, so that was one reason why we allowed people to combine the types of rewards. So you can do milestone rewards, placement rewards, and random winner rewards. So ideally, the milestone reward is there set up so that people are competing against themselves.
Yeah.
So if you were to give out sort of like, if you were to work out all the bonus actions, start with 5 that are really important and make it, 500 points, you give them that $5 and they have to either, refer 5 people or share on Facebook, Instagram, and maybe Twitter, for example. So you can use those milestone rewards to do that. So they can collect the points any way they want. But as long as they're getting to that point level, you're then giving them that reward. Interesting idea though about having a set reward per bonus action. That would definitely be interesting to play around with. My only thing that we would definitely have to look at is if that was going to get abused by people sharing to fake accounts and all that sort of stuff. So, it's a constant battle between us creating awesome features that business owners love, but then also that are secure enough so that the consumers don't take advantage of it. That's a constant battle that we're going through. The other thing, if the share is too much, one thing that we have seen work really, really well is asking people to tag their friends in something. So when someone's sharing something to their wall, it's a little bit more personal. When you're just tagging 2 or 3 friends on a post, it's a lot like less visible to all of their direct, I suppose, group or community. So that's that's an easier bonus action to complete than asking for the share. So if you're finding that you're struggling with shares, ask them to tag 3 friends on LinkedIn, tag 3 friends on this Facebook post, tag 3 friends on this Instagram post, whichever your top 2 or 3 channels are, focus on those 3 and try and go for the tag and then the share.
I like that. That's a great idea. And we've started experimenting with that because that's one of the cool things about the bonus action aspect of gamification is that you can create that viral loop where part of your bonuses and increasing your odds of winning is by going back to the ad that they initially clicked on and engaging with it, which increases organic reach, decreases the cost, brings more people in, and creates this really powerful cycle. And we love that. It's super effective.
Yeah. Well, my number one advice to people who, as soon as they start using VIPRE, is once you've created your contest, create one post for that contest on, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and all of your bonus actions need to revolve around those posts. Because now Facebook doesn't want you to spend a bunch of money on 50 different posts. They want you to spend all your money on just a handful of posts that are really engaging. And that's when that whole relevance score is coming into play. And I'm sure you're super familiar with this, but the more engagement and the higher your relevance score, the lower your CPM is going to be. So
especially now because it's broken out into 3 news scores. So now you have engagement, quality, and conversion. So now engagement's even more important because that's its own score when you're looking at things. So yeah, it's super important that you're getting a lot of engagement on those ads, a lot of likes, comments, and shares.
Yeah, well, Facebook's at the point where they've got the demand. Now they're just limited on ad placements. So now they're just filtering through all of the ads that they have, prioritizing the guys that are actually serving content that's getting engaged with, and penalizing the guys who are publishing stuff that isn't, because that's how they can tell if their audience is engaging and liking the content that that advertiser is producing, or if that advertiser is just trying to push sales and promote spam. So that's going to get more and more extreme as time goes on, as they try and filter out the advertisers who aren't really providing value to the community. Because without the Facebook or Instagram community, Facebook can't really monetize. That's their core value.
Yeah, and that's what I'm telling everyone. So I think that is without a doubt, I think the single biggest thing in 2019 and beyond with successful paid traffic on Facebook and Instagram is the ability to understand who your target avatar is, the target demographic, and what are they using Facebook and Instagram for in terms of what brands are they interacting with, what are they talking about with their friends, what type of content are they sharing, what type of content they're consuming organically, and to best create your advertising experience to match that, right? And so if you can create an experience to cold traffic that's entertaining and engaging first, you're much, much more likely to get those people into that top of funnel than you are if you're just sending them to a sales page and here, buy my thing. And you're going to be rewarded by Facebook because Facebook, like you said, they are in this battle right now with YouTube and Snapchat and other channels, TikTok and stuff, for not just users anymore, but it's how long users are on the platform. And so if the users are getting a bad experience, they're going to go other places. And so they are going to penalize the hell out of advertisers that are hurting that experience, and they're going to support the ones that do have a great experience. So I want to hit some, we have a few questions that popped in. So I want to get some questions as well. And then I have some stuff towards the end that I want to talk about. So let's start. My wife had a great question. She's been crushing it lately. She kind of sits in the back because I share so much content, do live so much, and she's just kind of sitting there and she has to just digest it. So she's become a question machine lately. These are all hers. So she's going to second. John Flynn's first question is, what's the practical application for someone like me who has a 2-step funnel for gym owners, selling a lead gen program? So he's using Facebook ads to drive traffic to ClickFunnels right now. He kind of asked, what aspects of the program can I use? So what aspects of VIPRE, I guess, could he use, or just gamification in general, to help improve his offering, which again is a lead generation program for gym owners?
Okay. So he's in the B2B space and essentially wants to get in front of more gym owners.
Yep.
So I suppose he's definitely going to want to think about what he can offer that gym owners really appreciate and value. So, is it time? Is it money? Is it leads? What sort of prize can you generate that's a really high value to these people? And then on the front end of that, what sort of content are you going to create that they're going to be willing to share? So for example, a great one that we see is attaching a testimonial success story along with a contest. So for example, this guy might take a past client who he's helped, generate hundreds or thousands of leads for his gym for, and say like, hey, I went through this program and they're running this awesome contest right now. And then the post is about his success story video and then the contest attached to that, because that post is much more willing to get people tagging others and sharing it. And it's not a direct hard sell push to get someone to sign up for a contest or buy something. It's kind of providing a little bit of value, but then also giving the contest as an opt-in as well. So that way you can kind of leverage that. So I would say that's probably the best strategy to use for that, partnering up the contest with a success story, because that sort of, I suppose, B2B niche is a little bit harder than B2C. So you do have to get a little bit more creative.
No, I love that. And what I would say, so on the back end of that, John, and this is a strategy that we're deploying, it's something I'm going to talk a little more about at the end of our session today, is figure out a way. Like, I think a lot of people view lead generation as very binary, meaning like, I'm driving a lead here for this, and that kind of silos it. What I look at it though is, like, for the contest, so we used to drive a lot of leads to webinars, and it's way more competitive. Everyone's in webinars, so it's very expensive, especially in our space. But with contests, I'm getting the same type of person coming in for the same type of reason with the same type of problems. Why can't I double dip on that and say, hey, basically I'm doing a training this month and then the month at the end of this contest date, and you can reserve a seat. The only way you can reserve a seat though is also to enter this contest to win my course, essentially. And you're going to learn some stuff. So you're kind of combining these two things. You could do it for your gym, whatever your prize is. I don't know what the best prize would be necessarily for gym owners, and you're in, John's in Unicorn Academy, so we can talk more about it in our training today. But I would say anybody that enters a contest, I would also enter them into a masterclass that you do each month for those gym owners. And it could be a training, 3 strategies that we deploy for gym owners to double their leads or double their revenue, whatever it might be. And so not only are you getting people into your ecosystem, but you're also getting another shot to sell them because you get them on a webinar at the end of the month. And that's something you can do every single month and mix up the training. And we're starting to do that and seeing a ton of success with that. It's a really powerful funnel, combining the low cost leads of contest gamification with the high touch point, high converting nature of a webinar on the back end of it.
Yeah. Well, the other thing for the prize, it doesn't have to be physical. It could be mentorship. It could be connections to people in the industry. It could be, yearly services to some sort of software that's commonly used for gym owners, maybe, that sort of thing. If you have a creative team, you can also offer to do all the creative for his gym. So you could do the banners, the banner ads, all that sort of stuff too. So you just got to get creative with your prize and think, hey, what do these guys really value? and what can I do that doesn't cost me much money that is a high perceived value for them.
No, I love that. That's a great addition. Cool. So hope that helped, John. So my wife's question was, what are the 3 top tips for implementing gamification in a useful way for an e-commerce business that's just getting started? So new e-com business, what are 3 tips that you'd give them to get started with gamification?
Yeah. So, as you probably know, but not a lot of people forget this, is that, email is still old school, but it's still one of the most effective channels you're ever going to have, and you own that channel. So a lot of people are spending money, time, and resources on, paid channels, ManyChat, all that sort of stuff. But at the end of the day, that email is still super important. So new store owners need to try and diversify their stores. I usually suggest, 33% email. Your revenue should be coming from 33% email, 33% ads, 33% organic. I usually just break it down into those 3, and usually the successful stores have a ratio around that and not too dependent on something. So super important for a new e-commerce store to start building their email list as soon as they can. Now, one of the best strategies we see with e-commerce stores is they run a monthly giveaway, and it's just populated on their site. So instead of having like a sign up for $5 off, it's more like sign up to this monthly giveaway for $5 off. So you're replacing your pop-up with this monthly contest, and the monthly contest can just be a gift card to your store. It doesn't have to be of really high value because it is a monthly occurrence. So it doesn't have to be as high value. You're not going to get as many shares as if you do like a grand massive giveaway or contest or something, but it is going to be really consistent. And so instead of just getting that email from the sign up to our newsletter, which doesn't work at all anymore, you're now entering them into this monthly contest where you're asking them to like your social channels, you're asking them to share your content, you're asking them, hey, which of the products in my store do you like the most? You can also ask, other questions around like, hey, what do you do? What's your occupation? Where do you hang out? So you can also be collecting information about your people visiting your site. So you can get a lot more out of someone once they enter that contest than if you're just getting them on that email list with that pop-up form. So I would say monthly contest is the number 1 thing. Really focusing on getting people to share your content and engage with your content. So one really good bonus action that I would suggest they do for gamification is, hey, leave a comment on this Facebook post saying why you love this product. And so now we're seeing ads that have conversations in the comments section converting really, really well. Because when there's a conversation happening between the brand and all these people, anybody who sees that ad and starts reading through the comments, they're like, oh, this is interesting stuff. And so now you've got a whole conversation that you're using to sell your product, as opposed to just a video and some text with a buy button. So getting conversations started on your ads is also a really good way to use gamification from a contest to improve your conversion rates. And then, as I said before, 4 to 8 touch points before you get the conversion. So, using those contests as well, gamifying those liking of the social channels. So get them to join your Facebook group, get them to follow you on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, whatever your main 2 to 3 channels are. If you're just getting started, don't try and go broad and do everything. Just choose 2 to 3 that you are really comfortable with. You know how to use it. You know how to create content for it. And you have, a high probability of sticking to it. So if you're like just getting started, you get the choice of which platform you want to do. But if you're like dominating Facebook, don't all of a sudden go over to TikTok. You could maybe start doing some TikTok stuff, but if you've already got traction somewhere, just double down on that. So I'd say those are the 3 things.
Love it. Yeah, it's great advice. It makes a lot of sense too. I think a lot of people get in there and they're like, I just want to grow everything, but there's no point in growing something and sending people somewhere if you're not going to actually provide value. It actually can backfire and provide a negative experience if you send people to YouTube and you don't post any YouTube videos. So make sure you're only, really growing the channels that have a direct kind of benefit to your business. And
well, the other thing is,
so let's see, we got a few more questions coming in. Brian's question, and this is a more specific question, which I'm sure you figured you were going to get at some point. His question was, I've been using Gleam because a client has used it in the past. What's the ultimate benefit with VIPRE? He, parentheses, does not like Gleam. So I guess, and we talked about it before we went live, the difference between, VIPRE, and it seems like everyone's trying to start a software company in this space.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So Gleam's definitely been around for a long time. So they have a lot of people, and they're like the MailChimp. So they have the freemium model. They've been around for a really long time, but they're very slow to innovate. And they, like, the main reason we see people coming over from Gleam is the design and flexibility options. So Gleam has they have the widget that you embed, and you can tell straight away within seconds that it's a Gleam contest. So where we were able to differentiate from those guys was offering, VIPRE built landing pages. So you don't have to have any technical skill. You just create the landing page in VIPRE, and then you get a link, which you can then go and start sharing. You can add a widget pop-up area. So it's kind of got like the CTA button, which then you hover over and it opens up the contest, and you can engage without ever having the customer leave the page. Or you can go full on, dev and build your own landing page and put in the embed form.
Which is what we've done, and we love it. It's I just want to chime in real quick on that. Like that ability to create a customized branded landing page that on the back end has all the power of the gamification is massive, at least for us. Like if we can, because now what we can do is we can swap out contests on the back end and continue to maintain all of our social proof on the ads that we're driving traffic to that lander, because the lander is ours. It's just the button that, we can swap out the destination of that. But yeah, that's been huge for us. And we've always used the landing pages, which are great because they're easy. But the, trying to go next level, having that custom branded option is really powerful.
Yeah. And I'd say, that's definitely a great option if you have someone to build a nice landing page and all that sort of stuff. Depending on what your scenario is with your client and stuff, I can't remember who asked this question, but depending on what their situation is with their client, if they have dev resources or if they just want to use like a lead pages or a ClickFunnels page, you can still embed it into that as well. So it can go into a page builder. You don't have to necessarily build it from scratch.
Yep.
Yeah, but I would say that's the main difference. Or that's the biggest benefit to swapping over, because both platforms still have bonus actions. We have a little bit more like granularity on how to verify actions and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, that would be the biggest reason why you would want to push a client from that over to something like VIPRE, for example.
Cool, perfect. Steven had a question. Since both of you have spent a ton on ads, can you briefly speak on using quizzes versus contests?
Okay. So I'm actually in the boat where I like to do top of the funnel and then bottom of the funnel. All of the money is made in the bottom of the funnel remarketing. All of the awareness, reach, and traffic comes from the top of the funnel. Now, I use 3 strategies usually. It's viral videos, viral contests, or quizzes. Now, quizzes are awesome because that's how BuzzFeed, for example, did so well. You would take your personality quiz and you would publish and share that to your Facebook page, and all your friends would be like, oh, I can't believe you're Harry Potter out of Harry Potter movies. So it is engaging for sure. Now, I only use contests because I ended up building a platform around it, and that's just what we saw success with. Not saying that quizzes don't work at all. I think what you just need to think about is what's on the back end of that and how can you leverage sharing and those bonus actions the most. So when you go through a quiz, you don't necessarily have all of the extra benefits of getting the shares, people following you, and all that sort of stuff. So I find it easier to scale contests than I do quizzes, because there's just more on the back end that you can make people do as opposed to the quiz. So that's usually the reason I choose to do contests or viral videos. Viral videos work really, really well because it's very seamless. And if you have a really good videographer or someone who can create really good video, that's usually kind of like less effort on your end in terms of setting up your funnel, because obviously a contest or a quiz involves a lot more steps in the funnel. So yeah, those are my 2, I suppose, takeaways on that as to why I use contests and videos over quizzes. What about you then, Nick?
Yeah, I think we use both. So, we do polls and quizzes, and we're doing a lot of that for our Unicorn Wealth brand. We're actually about to launch a poll, basically like kind of poll quiz where it's, do you think we're going to a recession or continued bull market in 2019? And we're using that more. So I look at like two goals, right? So with a quizzing and that type of gamification, we're looking to get a lot of reach. We're getting excitement. We're looking to get kind of low cost leads coming in as a first touch point, fun, engagement, exciting, and then do the work on the back end to nurture them and convert them. With a quiz / poll, we're looking to learn a lot more about that person that can then improve our kind of the remainder of our funnel. So with like this quiz for poll, for example, we're starting with, hey, do you think recession is going to happen or continued bull market? And then based on their answer there, they get the logic to go, well, who's responsible for this? Do you think it's Trump or the Democrats? And it continues down this path. So we learn, hey, and then we also learn, which market do they think is going to grow the most? If they say it's going to be continued bull market, if they say it's not, then we ask which one's going to take the biggest hit. So we're starting to learn like what markets are they most excited about? Who do they think, is responsible for the recession or the continued bull market? So we're learning their political interests, the markets they're interested in investing wise, how much they're investing in various questions. And then that can help us with like either co-regging the email because we have people that are willing to buy different emails with the offers we send them. So there's a lot more weight on the back end of that. And there's a different goal and purpose. And it's obviously, we're going to pay more for that lead. But that's why I think it's great to combine the two. Because if you can do the contest in the front end to get people in the ecosystem, make a bonus action, completing a quiz, then that could be a great 1-2 punch where it's, hey, get people in the door, get them excited, engaging, share that top end funnel, and then have a high value bonus action where they go and complete the quiz, complete the poll, and we learn more about them. I think the two of those combined is really effective.
Well, I actually agree with you. I think the quiz is a great way to qualify people and segment your list too, because you can do all the logic jumping depending on what you're using. But even if you just use Typeform or something, it still has that logic jump option. So I think you can do a really good job at, as you were saying, segmenting people and I suppose qualifying that lead. Whereas a contest, you can't get as granular into that segmentation and qualification as you can with that quiz.
Definitely. So we got a few more questions. I think we'll have time for 1 or 2 more questions. Steven, another question, which actually it's a really good one and probably the second most common question I get asked about contests. It's, can you talk about the best uses for VIPRE in terms of post-purchase engagement and LTV nurturing or even testimonial farming? Because I think a lot of people that have the belief that contests are just for cold people, cold traffic, getting them into your ecosystem, which I disagree with. I think there's a lot of ways to use it to create VIP experiences for your loyal customers.
Yeah, so the main thing here is going back to a person's circle. So usually someone is going to hang out with 10 people who are very alike themselves, but you're not necessarily going to have all 10 of those people's email address if they're a customer. So launching exclusive contests for purchases only, for example, and launching contests to your own list. A lot of people think it's just going to cannibalize my list and I'm going to just end up giving a prize away to someone who's already purchased from me. So there's no point doing that. But it's actually really good because that person already vouches for your brand. They're already familiar with who you are and they are much more confident in sharing your content and tagging their friends if they've already had an experience with you. If you're just a brand that they've never discovered before, people are going to have to think twice before they go and share something from you or tag one of their friends in one of your posts. Whereas if it's someone who's already familiar with your brand, it's actually an advantage, not a disadvantage. But on that, and we did get a lot of feedback, people being like, hey, great, VIPRE's doing an awesome job on the front end, but we want something a little bit more, I suppose, customer focused on the back end. So that's why we did launch the rewards program, because it's much more common for e-commerce store owners to have rewards program where, a friend refers another friend, they both get $10 off sort of scenario. So I think contests are great and I think people should be using them with their current audiences, but a lot of store owners can't get over that hurdle. And so that we did introduce that rewards program so that it's an easier transition into the gamification aspect, because we still include all of those bonus actions in the rewards program. So you kind of get the best worlds there. You still have the gamification aspect, but it's in a more, I suppose, familiar environment of a rewards program as opposed to a contest. But they do work very similar, rewards programs and contests.
Perfect. No, that's great. So we have a few minutes left, and I obviously wanted to make sure that we shared the exciting news. So as much as I love doing trainings, and anybody that knows me knows that I give probably too much, and I give to a fault. And I'm very bad about ever like asking for money or selling anything. It's probably my weaknesses, which is why I've surrounded myself with people who are good at those things. But I wanted to have Jack on here today. One, because I obviously wanted to. He has a lot of great insight into gamification and Facebook ads and the kind of future of paid traffic. And I knew there was a ton of stuff that he could share. And I'm sure there's endless amount of stuff he could additionally share. But I also wanted to, he kind of reached out to me, I think a week ago, and said, hey, we're going to do a special offer for about a week. And essentially what we're going to do is take VIPRE, do a lifetime deal on the software. And then we're also going to roll in Viral Facebook Academy, which is his Facebook course, which is really has an emphasis on virality, the content aspect of it, getting people in top of the funnel, which is really effective, and he has really great insight on that. A lot of people don't have that type of insight. So he put together a special bundle, and it's a amazing deal. I'll let Jack, if you want to just share all the details of it, and I'll chime in on some additional stuff that we're going to throw in on the back end as well. Because I know I've already seen a good number of people. Before I even dropped the link, we had a few people that just from an email I just talked to, I said, hey, we're doing this offer, and they already hopped in and got it. So as we were on the call before we got started, you're like, hey, somebody came in and they took the main offer and the upsell and all that stuff. So we're already got people excited about it.
Yeah, well, so as I just mentioned, we rolled out our rewards program, and so we already have like the contests and giveaways and all that sort of stuff handled, but we wanted to start introducing rewards programs as well. So kind of like to get people hyped, excited, and celebrate about it. We put together a lifetime deal for the program. So the lifetime deal is going to include, the 10,000 leads for contests, as well as 10,000 extra VIPRE track revenue in the rewards program. So if you already run a rewards program, you know that they can get super expensive because a lot of them charge really high rates or on percentages. So waiving all that, we just want to get people in there. We want to get people using it. We want to get feedback on the rewards program, see how it stacks up to our contests and giveaways, that sort of stuff. And then we wanted to differentiate as well. So we filmed 2 to 3 hours worth of content on how to use viral contests, giveaways, and rewards programs to grow your business. So we wanted to really give people the tool as well as the education to sort of take it and, make use of this lifetime deal. We don't really want to create something to, attract a bunch of people to buy a deal and then never use it. We really want people to take action. So we wanted to bundle the lifetime deal up with a course and, really focus on growing people's business. So the course will cover the contests, giveaways, rewards programs. It will cover all the Facebook stuff. So you go into the back end of a bunch of e-commerce stores that we were running contests on and show you all the exact stats, campaigns, and all that sort of stuff. And then because email is so important and all the money is made in remarketing, we also dive into the email drips you should be sending and all that sort of stuff. So it really covers the acquisition and the nurturing as well. Because we want to provide value. We want to help all these people grow their businesses. We're really not looking to just do lifetime deals for people to buy it and put it on the shelf.
Yeah, I agree. And we were talking about that before we went live. I think, first of all, whenever somebody gives me access to a lifetime deal, I take it 100% of the time because it's always the best deal in the long run. Whenever somebody gives you a lifetime deal for anything, you always take lifetime. It's like a no-brainer. We avoid doing lifetime for almost all these things because people jump on it because it's such a no-brainer if you plan on using it at all. So that's the first thing. It's just if you plan on running a contest or using gamification, or I guess the short answer is plan on being effective with Facebook ads indefinitely for the next few years. You need to have this because if you're doing the same thing, which is just taking cold traffic to a sales page, you will not be successful on Facebook ads. That's just a fact. There is nobody I know right now that is spending significant money. I'm talking 4 or 5 plus figures a day. That is just doing that. It just doesn't work anymore. Facebook doesn't want it. And so you need to think outside the box, which means you need to have interactive content. You need to have quizzes, polls, contests, rewards programs, anything like that top of funnel content. So it's such a necessity. And whenever we recommend stuff, it's only stuff that I personally use, right? And not just that I use, but also that we pay for. Like, we don't get VIPRE for free. We've been paying customers since our first agency. And so the reason I do that is because, like, I need to believe in something if I'm going to recommend it to other people. And there's a lot of people out there who will promote anything. Anybody wants to pay money to promote something, they'll do it, regardless of whether they use it before, regardless of whether they spend money for it. Because most people approach me and they'll be like, hey, can you promote a product? Here's free access to it. And I would say we never promote those offers. Some we convert to a paying customer, and then we promote it. But it's very, very rare. And I think, when you're looking at the competition in the marketplace, this is what we're talking about. Like, there's a lot of cheap options out there, right? There's a lot of tools out there that are like $29 a month, $39 a month, like super low priced options, $19.99. And what I found, and I did a video about this a week ago, when you don't invest, when you don't spend money on stuff, or even get things for free, it's like a free software, a free tool, you just don't implement. Literally anything I've gotten for free in my entire career, or that I've gotten for really cheap, I have not used because I haven't had a need to, because I don't need an ROI, or it's a very, very small ROI. Like, when I make substantial investments in things, when I get lifetime deals, when I invest in masterminds, when I buy courses and training programs, I commit, I go all in, I implement it because I want to get my ROI. I need to, I've committed to it. And so I think if you're serious about wanting to stay profitable on Facebook and with paid traffic in 2019 and beyond, this is a critical piece of your kind of your arsenal of tools that you're going to have. Without this piece, you're missing the starting phase. You're missing kind of the foundation, the fundamental building block that everything else happens. The retargeting doesn't work. The post-purchase doesn't work. Nothing else works because you don't have that stream of prospects coming in. You're not getting the high relevance scores. You're not following the rules and laws that Facebook wants you to follow. So, I couldn't speak more highly of the tool and Jack and the course as well. I mean, that alone, like, this, 13 lessons in it. So it's a really substantial course on Facebook ads, which I love. And I always dive into other people's courses and programs because I always learn stuff from them, especially this one. The final thing I'll say is, like, what I'll do on the back end of this, anybody that signs up for it, I kind of briefly touched on our primary lead generation strategy for my personal brand for Unicorn in 2019 is this hybrid webinar training gamification program. I touch on a little bit. So anybody that gets the deal, and I think it's open for another 3 days and then it closes forever. Anybody gets it, I'm going to send them a special masterclass that breaks down the entire funnel and sequence from how we use content on the front end to warm traffic, getting into the contest, the follow-up to email, all that stuff. So we'll add that on the back end. So the only way you can get that is to take advantage of this deal. And if there's anybody watching the replay that has questions about it, feel free to tag myself and Jack in the comments so we get notified. And we'll be checking the comments in the next 2 to 3 days to answer questions.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, I had no idea you were going to add that in. So that's incredible value.
Yeah, I figured, I always got to throw something in. So
yeah, well, I even want to figure that out.
I think I can work something out with you. I think I'll share that with you. We'll do a swap somehow. But yeah, man, I really appreciate getting to hang out with me today and share with the group. Like I said, the deal is incredible. Lifetime deals. You got to hop on it. Anybody watching this, and if you have a question for myself, for Jack, drop it in the comments. We'll check back on this. But remember, this is only the timer on this landing page is a legit timer. I would never do business with anybody that uses fake scarcity, fake timers. Everyone knows how I feel about that. So that's a legit timer. Once that timer is 0, the deal goes away. You're not getting a lifetime deal. You're not getting the course. You're not getting any of that. So take advantage of today and dive in. I'm excited to see the contests and rewards programs that everyone comes out with using VIPRE. Really excited about it. Thanks again, Jack. I hope you have an awesome week, and I hope everyone else has a great week as well. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, man. Talk soon, and enjoy the rest of your day.
You too.
See ya. Bye.